Welcome everyone to episode 15 of the Dual Boot Diaries, the weekly podcast where two longtime Windows users try to learn to use Linux daily. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Patrick Murray.
I'm your other host, Will Smith. And you know what we do each week?
What?
We try Linux, and at the end of this time, you know what's going to happen?
What?
Probably we're not going to delete a partition, but we might. We're going to threaten to. And we're not experts. Those are the two things I'm supposed to say.
Yeah,
here.
we're not experts. It usually goes first, but that's okay. You know, we're still learning.
Look,
this is episode 15.
I didn't scroll up enough to see the opening notes, and I wanted to look at the camera like a professional, and I immediately forgot what I was going to say.
Professional. Anyway,
episodes.
15 episodes in, but we are rapidly approaching the end of the year. We've got some stuff going on, but nothing too crazy. We do have, excuse me, we do have some stuff to talk about.
I mean, we were talking about end of year plans.
Yes.
We had some good ideas and we had some bad ideas.
Yes.
I don't think we've settled on anything yet.
Well, we will have one special episode in between the break of
very
Christmas.
Special episode.
Yeah, and
it's the one where we
CES.
learned that you're adopted.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I think the other thing is trying to figure out during CES, because I would like to be able to check in during CES.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to have the time. Yeah.
See, I wanted to check out during CES.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty much the same thing.
You're not going to be there.
We could get a guest that week too.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. I mean, I actually, is there ever Linux news during CES?
No. Well, yeah, there is, because every consumer electronics device that's not a PC with Windows on it or Mac OS ships with Linux. You could just actually, what you should do is at CES, you should walk around with a microphone and be like, "Hey, does anybody here run Linux?"
Yeah,
and then all the booth vendors will be like, "Wait, Linux? We run Linux."
I should do that. No, actually, where I thought you were going is that I should walk around with my Ventoy key and try to load Fedora on all the laptops, the pre-production laptops,
amazing.
And be like, "Hey, Panther Lake works on
yeah,
Linux."
Hey, the webcam, not so much.
Yeah,
it turns out.
I don't know if they'd let me do that.
No, they're not going to. They'll be upset.
Actually, I know a couple vendors that might, but they probably won't let me do it on camera. Anyway.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
TBD.
Anyway, we don't have a ton today, but we do have some deep stuff. Mine goes pretty deep, at least. What'd you get up to this past week?
Well, okay, so this week I was actually really busy with work, which left less time for futzing.
Wow.
I did install Cosmic.
Yes.
Because we had an interview with...
I thought that was 2 weeks ago.
Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but I spent time with Cosmic.
You spent time with it.
Yeah. So I tried to... I was going to install Pop! OS at first, and then I was like, wait, there's a bunch of other distros that ship Cosmic now. Cashy does.
Oh, Cashy does too?
Cashy does.
Oh, okay.
NixOS does. Fedora does. There's a wide variety of people that use Cosmic as the DE.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been wanting to try this NixOS thing. This seems neat.
Oh.
So I downloaded it, and I put it on the Ventoy.
Okay.
And it was like, hey, in the 25.0 whatever, the current version, it's the file. Like you can just do it's just an option, but you have to configure it in the command line file. And then nowhere in the documentation for NixOS does it tell you how to adjust the configuration file.
Oh.
And also, I think I probably had to burn it to an actual disk or USB thumb drive instead of using Ventoy, or I would have to open the image and then edit the config file. Anyway, I realized that I had a laptop with Cashy on it. I could just install the Cosmic like container app, and it would do everything. And then I just pull it down from the boot menu when I boot. And so I did that instead because it took like 5 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Okay, there you go. So you didn't get to try Nix. I've actually heard a lot of rumblings about Nix. I'm
Nix.
Curious about Nix. Yeah. But you tried it on Cashy. We do have an interview that we filmed yesterday, as of this recording.
For us,
we filmed an interview with the CEO of System 76, Carl, and then Jeremy, who was the head of the Cosmic team.
Carl and Jeremy, I like to think of this as the Pop! OS duo.
Yeah, cool guys. The interview will be going up next week, as you're hearing.
It was
this.
a good chat.
A really good chat. So I think we'll save some of the details around that, but like one of the things we didn't get into the interview is like our experiences with Cosmic. Yeah. I touched on a little bit last week, but one of the things that was funny with Cosmic was that earlier this week when we came in to record the Full Nerd, you were like, "Oh, hey, are you liking this tiling on Cosmic?" And I was like, "Tiling? What are you talking about? I just have floating windows." And you're like, "No, you hit a little button and it transforms into tiling." And we actually did talk to those guys about this because like that blew my mind. I thought tiling had to be like a whole separate like desktop environment, like that you would load into a tiling window manager thing. But to be able to switch it on the fly was like, yeah.
Well, we talked about it on the show, on the episode, so I don't want to go too far, but like, it's really nice. It's a big commitment to switch your thing to Sway or Hyperland or Neary or Paper WM or one of the tiling window managers. But it's not a big commitment to just switch a workspace to tiling and see how you like it. And I think it was validated because both Carl and Jeremy were like, oh yeah, nobody in the office is using the floating window manager. Everybody flips it to tiling all the time. And I was like, yeah, tiling is real good, man.
Well, and they had said, once again, we're burning the interview, but they had said like, oh, once you go tiling, you don't go back. I mean, it's probably true for you, right? You feel like
it feels like going back in time, going to a Windows machine now.
Okay. And I did try it a little bit on my framework, like that's where I had Fedora Cosmic on there. But like, I don't know, I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, I need more time with it, but like...
Maybe your brain's just not a tiling brain. Maybe you're a chaos brain.
Actually...
I like order.
You were on the Tech Pod.
Yes.
Brad and Will made Tech Pod.
Yeah. Techpod.content.town, where all podcasts are found.
Yeah, I think it was Brad who was talking about how he liked... He's always been chasing the dream of like some movie that had like just a ton of or somebody he had saw somebody do a ton of different windows, and it just he likes the idea of floating windows and just like having a ton of them on screen. I think I'm kind of like that too.
He really likes Swordfish a lot. He's a big fan.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not all in on the tiling yet, but the ease of use of being able to switch back and forth was like, wow. Well, that's a big deal.
And to me, the tiling makes the most sense on like secondary windows where I have the same applications open all the time. Like my secondary window on my desktop, my secondary monitor on my desktop is chat applications like Discord and Slack and Signal and whatever I'm referencing. So being able to switch back and forth between those seamlessly and having them organized in a way that I don't have to futz with at all is really nice.
Yep.
I'm like, it's less important to me on the main monitor, honestly. Especially on the desktop is what I'm finding. But anyway, so yeah, I use some Cosmic. I like Cosmic. It's neat. It feels a lot like the kind of benefit you get on Noctalia running on top of a Hyperland or Neary, honestly, because it's like a nice coherent package. It goes one step further than something like Noctalia, where Noctalia just does like the system Chrome, so it does like the Waybar implementation and the menu that you type into to get your applications to launch and stuff like that. Cosmic, they actually build a file manager and a terminal and a calculator and all the other kind of the stuff that comes with your OS typically. It's really nice. Like it's really compelling. I think when they get to a point where there's a couple people that have built projects that aren't quite there yet, for Cache at least, that let you replace the Cosmic compositor with Neary, so you get that infinite scrolling tiling window manager. And like, it's pretty compelling. I don't know. It's a good interview. You should check it out when it's up next week.
Yeah, I'll say, I think it's safe for me to say I'm not going to switch to it full time though. Like
it's not there yet.
Yeah. Well, even though there is a Fedora implementation of it, and that's the one that I had used.
Yeah.
There was too many things.
You're just gonna wait until it's stable.
No. It's just more like, maybe I'm just so used to GNOME, and GNOME is what I am looking for. Sure, with a little tweaks. There are definitely things like I've talked about, like dash to dock, so that I have a constant dock visible. By default, Fedora doesn't have that. The gestures to be able to like quickly see the applications that are installed, or even just like the simple like, I don't know, like hitting the super key, what that looks like, what that gives you. Like you get the search, you get the windows, you get the dock down there, all that kind of stuff. Like it's like, for what I like to do, like it didn't have a lot of like it didn't have a dock by default. It didn't have, like, when you would hit the super key, it would just pop up like a little like pop up thing, and then you would search for something and hit enter to
want to start
to
menu.
launch it. Yeah, it was no sort of start menu, anything like that. And I mean, maybe that's in there, and I just didn't futz around with it enough. But I did like, though, in the settings, it was very much the amount of control you could get over like Windows and like all that kind of stuff was like halfway between GNOME and KDE. KDE, like for me, was too daunting. I'm just like, okay, I don't need all these controls. I'm not going to use them. It's too much. GNOME's it is almost a little too anemic, where like I like doing some extensions to mess with stuff. The Cosmic settings did seem like a really nice.
Seems like it splits the gap. Yeah.
So like maybe there was stuff in there that I just didn't get to or didn't see, but like by default, like the look and feel of it wasn't jiving with me, except for the top menu bar too. I'll say that's the other thing I liked is that, and they talk about the interview a little bit, how usually on default Fedora on the right, I've got all my system or icons and things like that,
Wi-Fi,
power
Bluetooth
and things
power,
like that.
all that, yeah.
In the middle, I've got where the notifications come in and my calendar, things like that, or play pause for media playback. And then on the left, by default, is like the reveal, expose, however you call it. In Cosmic, you can change all that. You can say, hey, what do you want on the left? What do you want in the middle? What do you want on the right? And you just like move everything back and forth, and you can add things. And that was cool. So there are things I really like about it, and then there are some things where I'm just like, I'm not really digging this.
Well, I mean, so we got into all this. We got into like a lot of the choices they made. We talked about why they used Rust, because they built the whole thing in Rust, which for folks who don't know, Rust is a relatively new programming language designed to be more secure and safe for memory purposes, because they do things like they do kind of memory checks that by default C++ doesn't really build in as a feature of the language in the compiler. So and we talk about that stuff as well. It was like I said, it was a fun interview. I'm stoked about Cosmic. I don't know that I'm going to switch to it. If they had the infinite scrolling, I'd probably give it a run. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real close. It does like I said, the stuff that it does that they're doing with like their they're not plugins. They're explicitly not plugins, but the bar modularity and stuff like that. Yeah, applets. It's very similar to the way QuickShell works with Neri and Noctalia or one of those shells.
Oh, okay.
And it's really like it gives you that high level of customization, which I quite like. But like I said, once you go scrolling tiling, it's hard to go back to just tiling, because then you end up with like cramped little windows jammed in. And I want long, narrow workspaces, not lots and lots of stacked workspaces. Plus, they don't have an overview mode yet, which is feels like an oversight to me.
Overview, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, for mine too. Yeah.
It turns out that's an important part of my Neri workflow.
Well, the other thing I guess I want to try is Pop! OS with Cosmic, because I think that's obviously where
that's the thing they're shipping.
Yeah, exactly. And so I do want to see what that experience looks like. There, I do know by default it does have a visible dock. So maybe it's just different on Fedora, or maybe it's
Fedora hates docks.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it's not like it's been out for a while, or not been out for a while. Like it's been teased for a while. It's been a long time. They've been doing a lot of work on it, obviously.
4 years. They said.
Yeah, and so like we're just about to hit the launch of it. I'm curious to see what other people do with it, and like how other people maybe tweak it and things like that. So maybe I'm just gonna step back and kind of see what other people are doing with it. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess the biggest thing that I did like about it is that I assumed when I heard about this Cosmic thing that you could only run it on Pop! OS. I thought it was just going to be like a Pop! OS thing, but when I had went to that list and saw that there was just Fedora version,
like 15 other distros that are shipping it
right
now.
Yeah, and it was way easier for me to be like, oh, okay, I'm anchored in Fedora. I know Fedora. So I was able to see like, oh, okay, this is a Fedora thing versus a Cosmic thing. And
well, and so the thing is, you could have theoretically just installed the Cosmic Epic from your installer, and then the next time you rebooted, you would have had a drop down in your greeter that said, hey, do you want to boot into GNOME, or do you want to boot into Cosmic?
Well, see, I thought back when I was experimenting, or you did this too, when we had both GNOME and KDE at the same time and switched, it was not a good idea.
So that's what I did. It worked fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think you don't get the benefit. You don't get part of the Cosmic thing is that they a lot of cache is using like SDDM for the login aspect, and then hands that off to the full Windows DE or Linux DE.
Well, actually, what makes me, if I'm remembering correctly, one of the problems is that KDE relied a lot on X11, where GNOME
is
was
Wayland,
Wayland.
yeah.
And so Fedora has switched to Wayland only. So maybe the differences wouldn't be.
I think Cashe's
as weird
Wayland
there.
only at this point. Too,
Oh, okay,
or
so
primarily Wayland.
So maybe it, actually, you know what? Maybe that is a good time to revisit that and be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna load up and have 2 different options of desktop environments to load into.
Yeah, I think you're an advanced enough user you can manage that now.
because we'll get to it, but
Yeah. Okay, so I did that. I did some more games. I realized I never played
Game time.
Never did played that Lando Calrissian expansion for Star Wars Outlaws that I bought when it came out.
I didn't know there was an expansion.
You have to play what's the game that they play?
Play the game?
What's the game that they play in? It's not
Not a play
Bazak.
game.
It's a Sabak. I had to play Sabak against some high rollers, and then Lando Calrissian was like, hey, you're clearly a player. Why don't you come see me on such and such? So I went and saw Lando Calrissian. He was like, I got a job for you.
He's the guy with the cool cape, right?
He's a cape guy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I played that. I played that and was kind of pleasantly. It's the first big, like heavy AAA kind of game I've played on the desktop machine since I switched over to Linux.
Okay.
Because I play a lot of like multiplayer stuff. And I play a lot of indie stuff.
Did you do any direct comparisons of performance or anything, or you just wanted to load it up?
I just wanted to see if it was playable.
Okay.
But I was able to flip on all the NVIDIA specific stuff. So I had like DLSS on. I turned on the ray tracing and ray reconstruction and all that. Oddly, the defaults were bad. Like when I turned it on at first, and I'm not sure if that's a artifact of me having I'm running the shared install, right? So it's on both the Windows and it's on the partition that's shared. So
and is this through Steam or is this through
through Steam
Ubisoft Connect or whatever?
No, the Ubisoft.
Well, it still launches like a little light version of it.
A little pop up window, but like I haven't been able to get Rocksmith to work on Linux at all. Rocksmith, the current live service version. I boot into that. I launched that. At first, it was running like 3 frames a second because it didn't have ray reconstruction on, but it had ray tracing turned all the way up and all that stuff. When I turned on all the NVIDIA crap, it ran just like it always. Like that game doesn't ever run great, but
it's
like,
heavy.
With 3x frame gen on, it felt pretty good and didn't feel floaty or anything, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Launched in the right window. Or on the right monitor.
I have the hack. I did the hack.
I know.
Everything was Steam hack.
I'm just checking.
It just goes right in the right workspace, and then it's there.
Good.
I did. Now the workspace thing bit me in the butt. Because while I was playing that, I got a message from a friend who was like, hey, you want to play Arc Raiders? I was like, hell yeah, I want to play Arc Raiders. That sounds great. So when I got the message, it popped me into another workspace. I popped into another workspace to answer the Discord message and then immediately forgot that I was running Star Wars Outlaws in the background. So I launched Arc Raiders. I was like, man, this game is running like crap. What's going on? And then I realized it was because 90% of the GPU is being eaten by Star Wars Outlaws.
But it let you do it.
Let me do it.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
There you go. Freedom choice.
Well,
that's what you get on Linux.
And then the other thing about the Ubisoft game, because it has that Ubisoft Connect app running in the background, you have to manually stop it in Steam. Because like killing Star Wars, like going to the quit menu in Star Wars, quit the Star Wars game, but it didn't quit the Ubisoft Connect little applet that runs. So I had to go into Steam and hit the stop button. But that stopped.
Is that a Ubisoft problem?
I think that's probably a launcher problem. I bet that happens with the EA launcher too. And so experience was pretty good. Performance was good. I had a crash or two. It's hard. Again, Star Wars Outlaws is hard to say if that's Linux or if it's the game. Like it was an acceptable. I didn't lose any. Like it crashed on a map load, so I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose any time or anything.
Okay.
But I did a fast travel, and I remember that being a little hinky when I played it on Windows 2 years ago, year and a half ago, whatever it was.
Okay, all right.
So that was pretty good. I also have been exploring Audition alternatives. So I didn't. This is big news. I traditionally hit that Black Friday deal that Adobe does for Creative Cloud.
Yeah.
And this year,
you didn't do it.
I was like,
you didn't give them your money.
I'm not giving Adobe any more money.
Like you didn't even call them up to try to tease them out of it. You just hit the cancel button.
I didn't even hit the cancel button. It was a PayPal. I PayPal every year, so I don't have to.
Nice.
Now they're just like, hey man, you owe us money. I'm like, no, I'm not paying you.
No, you don't.
Yeah. No, you owe me money. So I'm off that Adobe wagon.
Wow. Do you feel okay? You feeling stable?
It's a little scary because I got to go do a podcast tomorrow, and I don't have a way to process it now.
Oh, you got to make the other person do the editing, I guess.
That's one way to do it. But I've been exploring some Audition alternatives because what I use Audition for on the Tech Pod is leveling like getting it to the appropriate level, lutzing it up to -19 or whatever you do for each of the individual stems. And then I run a series of processes that like DS and all the things you do to make a podcast sound nice. And it's very easy. It takes, and I synchronize the tracks as well. It takes about 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 when we have more people. And then it processes it for like 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how many people we have on the episode. And replicating that workflow and other things has been a pain in the butt.
I mean, to be fair, that's for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like regardless of the applications that you are trying, like even if you found one that was very close to what you needed, it's still a completely different workflow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But what I found is, so I tested out Reaper. I've used Reaper before. It's the metaphor that they use for their main interface is insane, and I don't like it at all. I find it very challenging. But what I did find is a YouTube tutorial that had a preset that lets you load a script that basically makes Reaper look and feel like Audition, including how the plugins work and all that stuff. Huh. And you can do, so one of the things I love about Audition is it lets you master the levels. We're getting real in the weeds on podcast stuff.
Yeah, here we go.
Lets you master the levels of the individual stems. So like if you come in quiet and I come in loud, it makes us both the right levels, right? Without me having to do that manually. And it does it across the entire audio file. And then it applies the filters. So you use the same filter presets on each track each time, and you don't have to normalize volume. Mm-hmm. So when you're like noise gating and all the stuff that is level dependent, you end up at a basic common point, and you don't have to do a bunch of tweaking on each episode. Okay. And I figured out how to do that with a Reaper. So I'm going to try that this week on the Tech Pod, and we'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this is all through built-in plugins that they have.
I think I bought 2 VSTs that people recommended as closer to the.
Do you remember which ones?
No.
Oh, okay.
They had weird names. It was like Bazinga's Jolly Time
Bazidi?
Amplifier or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Huh. Okay.
They were $3.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah.
Let me know how it sounds on Sunday.
Yeah. A garbled mess, and we'll see.
Folks also recommended Hindenburg, which is a Windows application that isn't actively supported specifically for voice editing. Mm-hmm. I think NPR and a lot of like talk radio folks use it for their production processes.
Really?
It's a Windows only app, but it emulates pretty well apparently. And I downloaded it. I haven't tried to install it on Linux yet. But yeah.
Is it Hindenburg Pro?
Hindenburg Pro. It's like $200 for. It's like a one-time. You can do a monthly, but they also have a one-time purchase option, which is nice.
Well, what about? What about actual just
Audacity?
Plain old Audacity.
That's the plan B if the Reaper thing doesn't work. I really the way they draw the. This is going to sound really goofy. I find that they are inconsistent drawing the wave lines to the actual place in the sound to the point that I don't trust it for syncing because I visually sync the tracks by we have claps or beeps in the track, and I sync it by lining up the peaks on those things, and if it's not pretty precise, then the track will drift and
you can hear
it feels bad. Yeah. So anyway, and they don't have an easy. Their stretching tool requires you to put in numbers rather than just drag it until they line up.
Oh, yeah.
That's the superpower of Audition is that you put your marker on one track's beeps and then you drag the other one to line up.
I mean, it's not just Audition, but yeah.
Audition is good at that. Yeah. Other Pro tools are Audacity traditionally has been bad at that, and I don't particularly trust it. So that's pretty much it for me. Oh, and then the last thing is I've experienced Electron app weirdness. I figured out we talked about this a little bit a few weeks ago, but the thing where I have to launch Steam and Discord in the right order, or else one of them doesn't open.
Well, I don't think you talked about that.
Did we not talk about this?
I don't think you talked about that.
So, okay. On my desktop, I have to open Steam first and then Discord.
Okay.
On my laptop, I have to open Discord first and then Steam.
Why?
I was like, why on earth is this happening?
Why?
So I posted.
Okay. Where'd you post?
I posted on Bluesky where all Linux support happens.
All right.
I since deleted the post because I got a lot of feedback on it and I was tired of getting answers.
Okay.
But the point is, It's an Electron thing. Those are all Electron apps. So some of them are using the system level Electron. Some of them are using their own Electron implementations. And I need to, when I install Electron apps in the future, like Discord and Slack and Steam and all this other stuff, probably be consistent about whether I'm using their own implementation across the board or the system level implementation across the board.
You're gonna have to back up though. This is we're not talking about the difference between where you installed the package from.
No. So Electron, one of the things that Electron lets you do is say, okay, this application is built against Electron 36, version 36, for example.
Well, but what is Electron? I guess I don't.
So Electron is an API. So it's like a toolkit. So you see Qt and GTK and stuff like that. Okay. Those are the toolkits that kind of provide Windows Chrome, for lack of a better term, like the stuff around the window. Like the things that the maximize and minimize buttons, the things that you grab around the edge to stretch the window bigger or smaller in a floating window manager, stuff like that.
Okay.
And those things are fairly standard, but they're OS dependent. So like GTK and Qt are, I mean, they're cross-platform implementations for those, but they feel a little bit weird when you run them in Windows. Windows provides its own toolkits, Mac OS provides its own toolkits, all that. Electron is one that's designed that basically packages up a web browser and uses web technology to draw what looks like a desktop application. And it's kind of famous for being a little resource hungry because it's running a full browser in addition, underneath your app. So like Discord, when you download the Discord app, it's just an Electron app, whether you're downloading on a Mac or Windows or Linux.
Okay.
Now,
that's why I've heard of this then.
Yeah, it's a common thing, and when you run it, so I'm going to run my Paru Discord just to see what we get here. Discord's pretty popular. Oh my God, there's so many of them. So there's 250 Discord implementations.
Ooh.
Some of them are different Discords, it turns out, because there's stuff that predates the Discord we all know and love.
This is horrible.
But for example, I downloaded the one from the extra repository on this one. Now, probably not the best idea because it has problems. There's also custom packaged versions like Vesttop and the Discord, I think, is the other one. Is it Discord? No, Webcord. There's
Ripcord.
Ripcord. There's a bazillion of these, and some of them use their own packaged version of Electron. Some of them use the system, like this one, Vesttop, uses the system-wide Electron. That's what I'm running on my desktop at home. It does not like to be launched before Steam, right? So I have to launch Steam first and then Vesttop. It's a hassle. I don't love this, and I wish if somebody can give me some guidance here, I would really appreciate it. What's the right way to do this so that I don't have these screwy problems? Because I thought this was a Neary bug, and it absolutely is not. It is an Electron implementation bug on
stupid question.
Linux. Yeah, hi.
Like one of the things about Flatpak is that it can containerize stuff, right?
Yeah.
Could that fix this problem? That it's right.
Maybe, but if I do Flatpak, I won't be able to use cameras in Discord.
Oh.
Yeah. Because then I have to provide access to the outside system, and I don't want to fool with that. Yeah.
Wow.
That's my understanding. Also,
what the hell's up with Paru where you can just have a million different Discords?
Well, it's the AUR, man. AUR, anything goes.
Yeah. Oh, God, how do you living life on the edge over here?
Look, I'm just rolling, baby.
Why are some of them red?
Those are orphaned or out of date.
Then why even give it to you? Why even give you that option?
Choice, man. Choice.
This is horrible.
But you want Blizzcord? It's a simple Discord bot which can play music from YouTube or local files. You want Curd? You can watch anime in the CLI with AnyList tracking, Discord RPC, intro, outro, filter, recap, skipping, etc.
You can watch video in a CLI. I don't understand how this all looks. No, please don't.
Okay, I don't
definitely
need that
not
much
anime. The fact
that
they say watch anime specifically.
Look, man. Look, it's pre-curded.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Well. So you need some help. You need some help on this. I thought you said you were getting a ton of help on Bluesky.
It wasn't helpful help. It was mostly people saying, hey, submit a bug to Neary, and then it became clear that it wasn't a Neary problem. It's actually a larger problem with
can't you just install both versions that run either on the system or...
So then I type Discord in my launcher, and I have two things that look exactly the same, and I have no idea which one's which.
Oh. Well, uninstall both. And
that is one way to handle the problem. Okay, so I do have one more thing.
Okay, yeah.
I was working on this piping my Neary config to Git thing, right? I wanted to move all my config files to Git.
Yeah, so anyone can access them.
I don't care about that. I wanted just people to pull them from one machine to the other so that I have a problem where on my laptop, I scroll between workspaces by using a 3-finger swipe, which makes a lot of sense on a thing with a trackpad. On the desktop machine where I have a mouse, I want to just hold down the super key and scroll with the mouse to switch between workspaces. But that doesn't work.
Okay.
Not exactly sure why, but I'll figure that out eventually. What I want, though, is for example, on my desktop, hitting Super N launches Notion, which is incredibly convenient because I use Notion all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't set that up on this one, so it doesn't do anything. So I want to sync those using Git. It seems like a thing nerds do, right?
Okay, yeah.
I can Git pull, I can Git push, I can Git reset, all these things. The problem is the Neary config file has a big chunk at the top that describes the monitors. On the laptop, it's no big deal because there's only one monitor and it's always the same. On the desktop, however, if I just put one file in, I'm going to end up with a big long string of monitors that all think they're next to each other instead of above and to the right and cloned. And it's not a good experience. So what I need to figure out is how to include, I need to figure out how to pull the bits of the file that I don't want to be synced out of that file and replace them maybe by like injecting another file. I don't know. I know that there's a nerd out there who's listening to this right now that's screaming at their radio, "Oh my God, you just do this simple thing to do this."
No, I think more, and I've seen this before where people are like, "Wow, Will really makes things hard on himself, doesn't he?"
No. This is making things easier on myself because otherwise I'm gonna have to copy and paste. Like otherwise, the solution for this is something really stupid. Like I'm gonna have a text file in my I'm just gonna copy this to my Dropbox every once in a while, and then I'll copy and paste out the bits that I want.
Right. Well, but I mean, to be fair, how often are you changing things like, oh, the Super N key launches Notion?
All the time. Look, one of the beautiful things about the tiling window manager is you think, it'd be really nice if, and then you go into the config file and you add something, and you're like, I'm never going to remember I added that, but it's in the config file, so I'm good. Then I back it up every, once in a while with Snapper when I do a new update.
Oh boy. Okay.
This is a perfectly reasonable ask, Adam. Don't you shame me for asking for something. Look, just because I don't have Windows backup on OneDrive anymore, saving my files between.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to back up your files?
No, I'm good.
They're safe with us.
Nope. I don't want to pay Microsoft $50 a year for 1 terabyte of storage or whatever stupid price they charge. Anyway, what have you been up to?
Yeah. So we talked about Cosmic. Following up on the Cosmic kerfluffle from last week, where you
nuked your boot drive.
Yeah, and now, funny enough, now that I look at it, I didn't have to install the Cosmic version of Fedora. I probably could have just installed Cosmic over Fedora.
Yeah,
whatever. Anyway, we did take some time Tuesday afternoon after the full nerd. I was like, hey, well, let's sit down and try to see if we can fix this grub thing right here at this very table. Yeah. And I was like, you said is like, oh, it probably can't be that hard. Yeah. Right. The partition for my normal Fedora install was there. We could see it. Yep. I could go into the file explorer thing and click on it, and I could go to my home folder, see all the stuff on my desktop. Like it was there. But the problem is that in the boot manager, all I was seeing was the Cosmic version of Fedora. So something got overwritten in Grub.
And also the NVRAM on your UEFI was all jacked up because it had like references to Ubuntu and a bunch of other crap that's on that machine. Which
I had wiped the Ubuntu installed to do the Cosmic install. So that was weird. But yeah, whatever. Anyway, we went down some rabbit holes.
I just want to say, I love the sub-volume stuff that you get with Btrfs. I think it's really, really convenient, and it makes like managing your disk space much easier because it means you don't have that problem where like your root ends up too small and you have to like shrink something and expand it and all that. Like it makes a lot of things easier. However, when you have this situation and you have like the solution for this is traditionally you chroot, you boot off a live CD,
which we did.
You chroot into the name of that partition. So like dev/SDA1 or SDA4 or whatever it is, your main system partition.
Which we were able to figure out which was which.
Yeah. And then you also mount like the boot partition under that as well. And then you just run the normal grub stuff to fix your grub problems. But with the subvolumes, it's really, really challenging. And like one of the things that I found on Cache was that there was a straight up wiki page. It was like, hey, if Windows jacks up your boot partition, do this. And it tells you how to mount the subvolumes properly so that you end up with a system you can chroot into. Because the problem we had was we couldn't actually chroot into your chroot system. And we found the commands and stuff to do it eventually. But then we had questions because you had somehow you had ended up with two EFI boot partitions.
Which we'll get to it, yeah. Because I think I know the issue.
Okay.
Yeah. But the other thing you were like, hey, you know what? Refind is really good at seeing this stuff. Yeah. So we did install Refind. It took us a second to figure out the best way to install Refind. We did it. Did the intra frames or whatever, rebuilt INTFRMS. Yeah, whatever anyway, and then rebooted.
Yeah,
and Refind didn't show it. Nothing.
Bubkus.
It was still the same kind of stuff that we had saw, except for we had lost the Ubuntu thing.
Yeah.
Like Ubuntu wasn't even showing up anymore.
That was good.
Because we were doing, and then I was like, okay, well, this is weird. Listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the live install and show you the process I went through just to kind of recreate the steps. And so we did. I went through the installer, and when you go to choose, okay, where do you want to install it? I had picked install alongside. And then it would pop up a window and be like, oh, hey, well, then you click the thing to say reclaim space because there wasn't space, whatever. So I clicked reclaim space. It popped up with a little thing saying like, okay, well, what do you want to delete? Where do you want to put the stuff? And I deleted the main file structure for Ubuntu.
Yeah.
And said, oh, okay, delete this one and then, resize, put it here. But I didn't delete the boot partition. Yeah, which is why the boot partitions were there. But also I think what happened was that then when I installed Cosmic was like, oh, there's already a boot partition for Fedora. I'm just going to overwrite that one. So like it blew away that boot partition.
Something got blown away.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I also was like, hey, listen, I'm not married to that install. Like, yes, I had it configured the way I liked it, but I'm also, I'm still, I guess, in that phase of like torch it,
burn it all down, baby.
And redo it. But which has been a good thing though, because I do have my in Notion, I've been actually keeping track of like, okay, on a fresh install, this is what I like to do. So this has given me a good opportunity to be like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. This is how I do it, so that I can just document that, right? I would like to be able to show people that somehow. We haven't got there yet with the that kind of stuff, but like at least for my own understanding of like, oh, if this ever happens again, or if I get a new laptop in. So like I think this is probably better than me trying to figure out how to sync my like home folder and stuff like that. Because I think realistically I probably will be switching around to different laptops and trying out different things. So like I'm trying to also just keep it simple. Like, hey, I got a new fresh install. I'm going to configure a couple things. Just keep it simple. Sign into the apps that I want and be done, kind of thing.
Like
so
that.
So anyway, at that point I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to wipe this whole thing. So that framework 13 done. It's gone. It's jettisoned into the earth. Well, not the laptop, but the install.
If you're going to
the whole thing,
I'll happily take that.
Well, no,
it'd be nice to have a
you can
laptop
switch to it
the
now.
webcam works.
Yeah, you can switch to it now.
Go.
If you want to. But yeah, so and also the other.
But wait, there's more.
Well, no. So then when we figured that out in the installer. And then was like, okay, I'm gonna like I went and installed fresh Fedora. Just said wipe the whole thing, install fresh Fedora, and then I went back in with the installer again and mounted the Cosmic thing. And you actually couldn't I couldn't resize to add Fedora or the Cosmic version of Fedora. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Because I think what it's doing is like it's saying, hey, no, you don't want to do it this way. You should probably just install. Like
Cosmic.
you shouldn't install Fedora alongside Fedora I think is what it was trying to tell me. But because what I was doing was initially I deleted Ubuntu and then put it there. Like I wasn't trying to resize my Fedora.
Yeah, I think I think you're anthropomorphizing the installer in a way that is not. I think it just wasn't letting you delete that partition.
It was grayed out. Well, no. Like all I need to do is resize that partition, and that resize icon
you couldn't
thing.
resize it because there was a partition on either side of it. So there was
No.
Oh, you got rid of the other one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Remember this? I nuked it. Did the fresh Fedora install? Went in with the Fedora Cosmic version. Tried to resize Fedora, and it wouldn't let me resize.
So
Fedora.
I will tell you from when I was installing Cache a bunch, I had real problems using the disk resizer that's built into the installer, and I ended up just downloading gpartd, which is the resizing tool that is like a standard Linux resizing tool.
Okay.
And doing that outside of the installer, and then rebooting, and then running the installer. And I had much better luck doing that when because I think often the installers, if they hit something they don't understand, will just prevent you from doing something that's going to jack up your machine. And I think that's probably what you hit, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. What else you got?
So there was that. To tell you the truth, I didn't do a ton of other stuff because
It was Thanksgiving.
No, not last week.
Last week was Thanksgiving.
Was it last week? Oh, you're right. Yeah, last week was Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I took a
trash
sorry
tonight. So
I'm already. Whoo boy, wow.
You're already into Christmas. It's you're looking forward to New Year's at this point.
Oh boy.
What are you doing for New Year's, Adam?
Looking forward to CES. Well, not looking forward to it, but
I'm
planning for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're right. I didn't do a ton of stuff, but when I did have the time to do stuff, I have reinstalled, or I've installed and reinstalled and reinstalled and reinstalled VMs so much that I feel like I'm an expert at installing VMs in a very specific way.
Okay.
I feel like I'm back to
you boating.
I feel like I'm back to those early days when I was just like
every week
distro
it was like
hopping.
different distro. Yeah.
It was more like every 2 days, different distro. And I became a pro at
You need to make a T-shirt for you
Fedora.
that's like all of your distros with X's through them.
Yeah, nah. But maybe I'll go back to them. Maybe, yeah. So yeah,
NixOS could be the one, man.
Maybe. I'm curious. No, but I as part of my mission to get ready for CES, I was like, hey, I want to set myself up for success. I'm going to need to be using Photoshop a lot.
Yeah.
I don't while I could boot into Windows to use Photoshop and then come back, I know at CES, which is one of our busiest trade shows, I'm not going to switch back and forth between OSs. It's going to take too long. It's going to be too much of a headache. If I'm going to have to go into my Windows partition, I'm probably just going to stay in Windows the whole time.
Let me give you a tip here. If you really want to get rid of this Photoshop situation, you know what you do? Just don't pay for it anymore.
Oh, okay, well.
They solve it for you.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to relearn a new program by the time I hit CS. That's not an option. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out this VM thing.
Yeah.
And I've been working on it for a couple weeks. Some fine folks in Discord, Infinite has helped me. Initially, I had it on an HP system with Strix Halo chip. No dedicated GPU, so it was just the IGP. So I've gotten really good at using Virt Manager. So you install sudo dnf install at virtualization. It'll do the whole package thing.
It pulls the whole, all the things you need.
All the things you need to run a VM, which has been awesome. I know there's other tools, and I would love to do the Winboat thing so that it looks like just a normal Linux app, but it's too complicated.
Eventually you'll get there.
I do appreciate people saying, hey, you should just start simple, understand how a VM works, and just start there. So that application, it's not pretty. It's pretty, utilitarian, for lack of a better word, but I know how to get in and do things. So essentially on that HP laptop, I got it to run, I figured out how to give it the right cores, the right memory. Luckily that chip has a ton of cores and a ton of memory, so that was not an issue. Give it a partition, whatever. And then for the displaying of it, I would pick virtual I/O, so VIRT/IO. So essentially, I don't know how it works, but that's just what I've been using. And you can actually enable 3D acceleration
with the pass-through.
The pass-through thing. And so I got really good at that. Got it up and running on that HP laptop.
Okay.
It was working. I installed.
You showed me. You were hey, look,
this was last week. We talked about this last week.
And I was like, yeah.
Anyway, so the next step was, okay, it's running snappy and it's running quick, and I do like it, but it's not quick enough. It's not bare metal quick.
You're giving me business about making things difficult for myself. This is fine, but it's not fast enough. 3% faster is going to make all the difference.
It's not even just that. Especially when you're if I was just doing tech stuff or just simple kind of stuff in Windows, like Excel.
Yeah.
Excel would be completely fine in this. I could use Excel in this version, no problem. But in Photoshop, when you're doing a lot of like fine tooling and like, like moving layers and nudging
it's like going
things.
back to CS5 where there's no 3D acceleration of the canvas.
Yeah. So like I was able to get it to run. I was able to get it to work, but it was not like it probably would have driven me crazy in the middle of a CES.
Yeah.
Like if I'm being honest, I probably would have been like, okay, this is not worth it. Just dump it. So I was like, okay, I know that we have laptops on hand. I switched to this Asus ProArt. Really nice laptop. It has an AMD processor with an IGP that I wanted to dedicate to Linux. And then it has an RTX 5070 laptop GPU that I wanted to dedicate to Windows. So, hey.
Sounds easy.
Yeah. Then Windows gets its own bare metal GPU.
That's what the kids crave.
It gets the acceleration. Everything's great.
Yeah. How'd it work? Easy peasy, right?
I had a problem with the side tangent thing. A lot of fine people were trying to help me out, but we got hung up on this TPM thing where it like either it wouldn't.
This is the trusted platform module.
Yeah, so Windows needs it to even just get to the installer.
Install,
the installer will be like, "Hey, dog,
you should have just installed Windows 10." That long-term support version is great. Everybody loves that.
I don't want to get into that. All the people who are saying that, no, I'm not going to do that. So thank you, but I'm not going to do that.
Run supported versions of the OS.
If you want to know why,
run Windows,
we can talk about it.
We're dual booting experts.
Yeah. So anyway, and people were like so confused, and I was confused too because I was like on that HP laptop, I didn't run into any TPM stuff, and I didn't even touch the TPM stuff. I just left it how it was, and it was able to just work. So here, why is it working different? We were trying to go in and trying to futz with the UEFI and all that kind of stuff. We tried a virtual TPM, but then we also tried to do TPM pass through, and it was just a huge headache.
And Windows 11 specifically needs TPM 2.0.
Yeah.
The TPM,
the installer will just stop you and be like, you can't install Windows. You don't have the right hardware.
Microsoft says no.
So
Linux doesn't care.
Anyway, we got into it real deep. I solved it. I figured it out because as I was messing around with yet another install and just trying to fix it, I noticed that the TPM option in the I think it's called Virtual Manager, a Virtual Machine Manager, I'm sorry, is the application. Inside of it, when it defaults to a virtual TPM, and the default selection, let me bring it up. The default selection was essentially not working with installing Windows. Why that was different than what I was doing on the HP laptop, I have no idea. I'm just getting into it here. Okay, so you would hit the type as emulated, and then you would go into advanced options, and it defaulted to hypervisor default, which was not 2.0. But luckily, there's a drop down that says 2.0, and that worked. So the TPM thing solved. Great.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, cool. And then somebody over on Discord, let me find it because it actually ended up being a really good video. Voice Callo, friend of the show, Voice Callo over on Discord, linked a video of somebody describing how to do a GPU pass through in the steps. Now he was using Kubuntu, so I did have to make a couple changes for Fedora and just in a couple command line stuff, but it was easy enough for me to Google it and be like, hey, this is how you do it in Ubuntu. This, how do you do it in Fedora? That was fine. I was able to follow that video.
Yeah.
I got it to work. So Windows sees the NVIDIA GPU.
Yeah.
I was able to load NVIDIA drivers, everything great. But the problem is, two problems. So I did it. I actually, you know what I did? I even did the USB pass-through. I loaded up V-Ray, a couple like benchmarks from my benchmark key to be like, wait, is it actually running on the GPU? And yeah, it was running on the GPU. I didn't try Furmark, but I did Geekbench and V-Ray and one other thing, I think.
Some stuff that doesn't run well if it's 3D accelerated, not 3D accelerated.
Well, and then I could just look at Task Manager and be like, oh, it is indeed using the 5070.
Yeah,
great.
That sounds great.
Cool. But the last step of the video is to then uninstall the virtual I/O drivers, because I'm not going to get into the whole process of how to do it.
Put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, well, I could put a link to the video. But essentially, you know, what you need to do is, you know, install things the right way, not only for the VM, but then you need in Linux, you need to say, hey, we need you not even to see the discrete GPU. Like don't like you want you need to in Linux I needed to dedicate that GPU to virtualization.
It's a straight pass through.
Yeah. And then you still load it with virtual IO, and then you pass through, and then like there was drivers, and you unload it. When I unloaded it, dead, just kaput, didn't work anymore. And I was like crap. And essentially, I was backtracking. There is one step in there where it's asking you to, I don't even know if I can describe this correctly, but it's asking you to verify in the command line that the GPU is actually being used by virtual VFIO. And I don't know what that stands for, but I couldn't get it to show up in the command line. So I was like, I'll try it anyway. And I double checked, triple checked, it just didn't work. But then I was still able to feed it into the VM just fine. But now I'm having two problems. Number one, it's not like it sees the GPU. I'm able to run tests on the GPU, but the first indication that it's not using the GPU for 3D acceleration is that the windows in Windows are all squared off.
Oh,
right.
You don't have those nice round. You can't do curves on 2D acceleration.
Well, but so it's like it's seeing the GPU, but it's not using the GPU for everything.
Yeah.
And especially when I would just disload those virtual IFO drivers, obviously it was using those drivers.
Setting?
I don't know. I followed those steps. I have a follow-up chat over on Discord. We have a whole VM help channel that I'm getting help with from various people with. So I want to dig into more. But the other problem is, so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can still use Photoshop and it'll use the GPU, but it's not the drawing problem that seems to be the problem. I'm not getting that nice 3D acceleration. But the bigger problem is that when I would exit the virtual machine, when I would shut down Windows, the whole laptop, Linux and all, hard freeze. Because I think Linux still sees that GPU and is trying to do the handoff. Yeah,
That's really bad.
So really what I'm getting stuck on is having Linux not see the GPU for some reason. I've done all the steps in the video. I'm just not able to get Linux to let go of it, or it'll let go enough of it that it'll pass it through.
That GPU is your laptop's Jake Sully. It sees you.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm so close. The problem, the bigger issue I'm having is that I thought, I know so many people who are that are like, hey, VMs, they're easy. I'll load up VM left and right.
I run VirtualBox all the time. Right? I love it. It's constant. I got it for Windows 7. I got Windows 8. I got Windows 8.1. I got Windows 10. I got Windows 11. I got Home and Pro. I got VMs out the wazoo.
So
welcome to VM City. Population you and me.
Yeah. So I'm getting really good at installing VMs. You know, like it's great. But this part of it, I need this part to work, and I'm
last little bit.
Yeah, I'm not able to get this part work. If I can't get this part to work, the whole thing doesn't work.
You know what they say is that last 10% always the hardest 90%.
I guess I don't know.
Just bring it up. It was working. Just go back to the way it was when it was working and not doing it exactly right. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what Linux can not see it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like you're using it for real GPU stuff. You're using it for Photoshop. It's a 5070.
But it needs the GPU. Well, even if I just give Linux the 5070 and the IGP to Windows, I can probably still do it fine too. But I'm not able to do that either.
Oh boy!
And so it's definitely to the point where I'm just like, oh my goodness.
This is the Dual Boot Diaries. You could just run Windows.
Well, I do have Windows on this laptop.
Okay.
So this laptop does have 2 drives. I do have a Windows drive, but like I said, in the heat of CES moment, I'm not going to.
Yeah, no.
You
want to be a Linux guy.
Yeah. And I want to be able to, like, my goal at the end of this is to walk away from CS and say, hey, I did everything in Linux.
Yeah. Except for the stuff in the virtual machine, which was also in Linux.
Yeah, which would be in Linux.
Because the virtual machine's inside Linux.
Because then it's like, okay, I don't have to ever worry about, having a laptop with 2 slots, or having, to have a boot. Like the HP laptop, it would be a perfect situation, except for it's only a single drive, and I no longer am dual booting off of single drives anymore. So it's like, like in the future, I want to be able to use laptops like that. where
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, you know what? If I want Windows, I've got a VM for that.
Yeah.
And I never actually go into bare metal Windows. So like, I'm so close.
What about a
I'm so
hypervisor,
close.
man? What if you just hypervise the whole thing? Virtualize Linux and Windows.
Yeah, right.
Next level.
Yeah. So
Wendell said that time slicing was coming to GPU VMs when we saw him 3 months ago. What the hell,
I
Wendell?
don't even know what that means. Yeah.
Well, the idea is that you can just give like a portion of the GPU to Windows, a portion of the GPU to Linux.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's what you really want.
Oh, that'd be like all I need is Windows to just get some basic
a little
3D
bit.
acceleration.
Just need a little bit.
I just need a little slide. Give it 2 GPU cores.
Like
probably
10%.
fine. Yeah.
10% GPU for Windows. That's all it deserves.
So the other
What else are you
question,
up to?
well, the other question I had was, is this an NVIDIA thing? I wonder if it would be easier to do this if I had a laptop that had an AMD CPU and GPU. The problem is that
Nobody
there's
makes
not
those.
a lot of those
Yeah.
out there, and there's a whole reason why. Actually, I think it was Hardware Unboxed had a good
Where the
talk about
laptop
that.
GPUs for AMD.
Yeah, where there's just not as many options that are all AMD, and even the options that are there are usually like older designs
Well,
and just So
and
it's a whole
there's an
thing. We don't need to
argument
get in there.
that AMD like APUs are pretty good, and if you want an APU, just get a bigger. If you want AMD, just get a bigger APU like a Strix Halo machine. Yada yada.
Yeah, but
anyway,
so I don't know.
that sounds fun.
Yeah, listen. I got time. I have
Yeah.
time. Like we're like
We got a month.
We're a month. I ship off on January 4th. We're
Yep.
recording this December 4th, so I literally have a month.
I'm gonna go out to
figure
the
this out.
docks and I'm gonna be like, bye, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you'll cry. You'll wave your hanky.
I'll wave my hanky and like yellow flag.
Exactly.
Adam goes off to war.
I don't know, but I really want to figure this out. And
You'll get
also,
there. I believe in you.
I had that feeling again. I know we talked to Wendell about that, where like I had that feeling of like, I bet if I just call up Wendell, he'll like set this up for me and I'm good.
Wendell, well, yeah. And then he'll write
Which
a
I'm
blog
sure he
post about
would.
it.
I'm sure he would.
Then he'll write a forum post about it. He'll feel bad about it. 'Cause he'll be like, oh,
No. But I actually do want to learn how to do it myself, because if I'm going to
This is
be
how we
switching
learn.
to different laptops, I want to be able to say, okay, I know the process, and even though I might not understand what everything's doing, I know the process. I know what I need to do and what I need to look for. And if it fails, then maybe I'm not good at troubleshooting it. But at least
every time.
And I want it to be simple too. That was the other thing. The when I looked at the Winboat stuff, or
good, fast, cheap, simple. Pick two.
Well, that I was like, oh, you got to do Dockers and VMs, and like
Dockers.
people have been like, oh, you use some sort of other application to like actually remote into your VM, so the VM isn't
using
drawing
an
it. You're
RNC.
using something else, and I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't seem as simple as just using the VM.
Look, you
so
just
I don't
need
know.
to think about. Stop thinking with Windows and start thinking with ports. Okay, that's all I'm saying. What else? You can do anything else?
Or what if Adobe just made a Photoshop version?
Why?
Linux?
You know what? If they had announced a Linux version of Photoshop, I probably would have paid money to them on Black Friday.
Or
They should discount it though, because Linux. It's not going to be very good for a long time.
yeah, I mean, it's to the point where I have a side tangent here.
Oh, shocking.
I've been curious about Mac OS. Because like I'm like there's things. I mean,
We have a podcast
I will say
for that.
I know. I will say part of this is because Windows. I had and I wish I remember. I should have taken notes on this. At some point in the past week, I was like, I am so disenfranchised with Microsoft and Windows that I'm actually looking at Mac OS and being like, oh, this doesn't look as bad.
This is how I became a Mac guy in 2010.
Yeah, I know, but
2012.
that like I used to be diehard Mac, and then I ran kicking
Yeah.
and screaming, and I've ever since been like, well, no,
look,
for good reason.
Apple had a period of time where they kind of just like sidelined the desktop performance end of their ecosystem entirely.
I mean, it's not even just that, but yeah.
But I mean, like
the
that,
hardware,
for
the
folks
hardware part of it
in your line
Yeah.
of work, especially at the time, like that was a real problem.
Yeah.
And now it's not a problem because everything's fast as hell, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
ARM is fast now. What are we even doing?
Yeah.
What does anything matter? Where are we? What's my name?
But I
Billy?
was like, wait, Photoshop runs really well on Mac OS.
It turns out.
I wonder what
Just get an iPad.
Can you dual boot?
Yeah, you
Can
absolutely
dual
can.
boot
That's what Refind
Mac
is
OS?
for.
No. On this laptop, could I put Mac OS?
Oh, don't do that. That's a bad idea.
So the only way to dual boot, you have to have a Mac laptop, and then you dual boot something
you
else.
do it
on
the other way usually.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people
okay,
that run.
no.
There. Look, there's a whole community.
Then I'm out.
Please don't send letters about this. We know that you can run Mac OS on Intel hardware. If you it is.
I'm not going to use old Mac laptops.
You'd have to use an old Intel processor. You'd use an
which
old
I do have,
Mac
but
OS.
I'm not going to use it. No.
It's a bad idea, James. Don't do that.
Okay. All right. Well, but
there's a whole host of really good reasons not to run unsupported commercial OSs in the same way that we don't recommend running the Windows 10 long-term support thing.
Either way, I was also like, I'm being honest here. I'm coming to grips with the fact that, wow, I really do like GNOME. And the fact that it does pretty much just look like Mac OS in a lot of ways.
You can make that dock. You make the icons get big on the dock so it looks like Panther.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, okay, this is where we're at. This is so weird.
You know, the original Panther Lake was that wallpaper of the lake on the OS 10 Panther laptops. They had a wallpaper background.
Really?
That's the first Panther Lake.
Okay,
yeah.
well, there you go. Boom. Got him. So no, I haven't done much else. Let's get into homework. Shall we? Homework for next week. What are you working on?
So I have two things.
Actually, real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's take some questions before we get to homework. Because we do have a couple questions.
I know. I'm sorry. Homework, and
I'm sorry.
You expect me to answer a question?
Yeah. Also, your homework is not in the notes. Why is it?
Well, because you're disconnected from the internet or something. I
No,
don't know.
I'm connected to the internet. Anyway. We have some questions that have come in since we've done the Q&A episode, but that I think would be nice to kind of fill in here a little bit. If you want to get a question in, there's a link in the description to our Discord, and we have a DBD questions channel. You can put some questions in there, and hopefully we'll address it on the podcast. And I want to keep up to date on some of them. I know we don't take questions every week, but I think we want to keep up to date.
A couple of good ones this week.
Yeah. The first one comes in from a friend of the show, Datus. Asks, have you run into any issues updating the firmware/BIOS on laptops? Dell, HP, etc. often use a Windows utility, and finding the file itself can be a challenge at times.
Oh, I did this on the Lenovo.
Yeah. So on your Lenovo?
Yeah.
Oh, the Lenovo.
This
yeah, because you have the futzing Lenovo.
The futzing ThinkPad.
I will say no, I haven't. Because I've been able to get the firmware updates from Framework. I've been mostly using that Framework device.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I was using the System 76 laptop, of course, I'm getting it through there. Lenovo, I did. Yeah, I've also gotten it through Lenovo. There was one other laptop that I used. Maybe it was HP, but I was surprised. Yeah, I would have assumed like, oh man, if I need to get a BIOS update for the actual device itself, I'd have to go into my Windows partition and update it there.
Depends on the laptop.
Depends on the laptop. I don't think I've had this Asus one long enough to see if it did, but when you were using your Asus, do you remember getting a BIOS update?
I might have skipped it. The Lenovo used FW Update Manager, which is a tool built for updating firmware on Linux of laptops specifically for this problem. Support seems to be pretty broad. I don't have any I don't have any kind of idea about how far deep you can go or whatever. But on this Dell, I had to grab the BIOS image and pull it out, and then I had to boot into a special mode and flash from there. On the ThinkPad, I just ran a command at the desktop in Linux, and it just did the update and was like, "Hey, you should reboot now."
And for me, it usually just pulls in with the DNF updates.
Yeah, like when I did a full system update is when it popped up.
Okay,
it popped up as, "Hey, there's a firmware update. Do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, I think
way easier than Windows, just to be clear.
Yeah, so it has. We haven't run into any problems. I will say the only issue, I don't know if you would know would be an issue. Like if I say this Asus laptop isn't able to get firmware updates while I'm in Linux, I wouldn't even know that I was missing a BIOS update.
Yeah, you're probably fine,
right? You know what I mean? So is it an issue? No.
I've reached a point in my life. I used to be the guy who that was almost real bad.
Ooh.
Good save. Truly, the liquid death got you. I used to be the guy that as soon as there was a BIOS update, I'd be like, man, I'm going to install this BIOS update as soon as I get home, right? Like I had watchers on the page for my motherboard and all that stuff.
I'm still the guy.
Yeah. So now I'm the guy who, when he gets a new TV, I set it up, I disconnect it, block it from the Wi-Fi so it can never get access to the internet again. Because if it's working, let's not mess it up.
Yeah.
Let's just let it go. So
So another one from friend of the show, unknown user 326. we'll never know who they are, is a 55-year-old Windows 3.11 guy switching to Ubuntu the proof that 2025 really is the year of Linux?
I'm impressed he was running Windows 3.11 for, like, that's Windows for workgroups. That's pre-Windows 95.
I don't know if they're...
Is that where it started, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that's where they started because yeah. So I don't think he actually was switching from using that daily to Ubuntu. But yes, I mean that's great. Like I love hearing stories like this. It's not like an actual question, but I love hearing that people have those stories because once again, like time and time again, like I hope what people can take away from this is that it actually isn't that hard.
When we say that. And then we have a 15-episode podcast detailing the problems we've had making this change.
For sure. But learn from us. Learn from our mistakes.
Was it Wendell that said, I think the year of Linux is whatever year you switch to Linux?
I mean, a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people say that, yeah.
I feel like that's probably the right answer. But yeah, no, I'm stoked. Every time somebody sends me a message that's like, hey, you inspired me to try this thing, I'm like, hell yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. I love this.
Yeah. Also, I mean, with the work that is the System 76 people have done in Cosmic, like Pop! OS is where I started.
Yeah.
Like that was my first Linux experience for this podcast. I'm still always going to hold it near and dear to my heart. And it was just like, oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah. And to have Cosmic on top of that was like, oh, okay. I bet a lot of people can be like, dang, this is interesting.
The thing we didn't say earlier, like the thing I've after spending time with Cosmic and like, it feels like the future in a way that like Neri also kind of feels like the future. Mm-hmm. Like it feels like they're making good decisions to build a base on that's going to be around for a long, long time. And that's exciting because like we've had KDE and GNOME for 20 years at this point, and like nothing, like the Hyperland and the tiling window managers kind of were the first thing that took a chunk out of those two desktop environments, right? And so seeing more diversity in those places is really good because like I love the idea of something I can say, oh, hey, you want to try a tiling window manager, but you don't want to be committed to that forever. Here you go, try this. This is a great option.
Yeah. Got another question. It's kind of a long one, but it's pretty simple from Ice Mocha.
No.
I'm using a Framework 13 with a Ryzen AI 350. Oh, that's all. Like it's pretty much the framework that I was using, except for the one step down. I noticed that Ubuntu 25.10 was recently added under Framework's officially supported list for the Framework 13 Ryzen AI. During your time with Ubuntu, did you notice any drawbacks or benefits versus using Fedora 42 or 43? For example, does Ubuntu also have all of Framework's AMD drivers available in their software center like Fedora? Any sacrifices in game drivers? I'm a Linux beginner and have been using Fedora for about a month. It's been great so far, but there have been times I've seen a package I wanted only available in a .deb version. One of their examples is Surfshark.
Yeah.
So I don't remember any standout stuff. Like I think, actually I did. I don't think. Unfortunately, I don't think in our interview with the Framework CEO Narav, we talked about that stuff. But like, yes, on the Framework website they have like officially supported OSs, and yeah, like the some of them like will come later than others. But I mean, I was surprised. I don't think you would have any problems, to tell you the truth, because I was surprised when I got that HP laptop with running Strix Halo, and I saw that it was supported under the newest. It wasn't the long term version,
right?
No. Ubuntu. This is back when I was on Ubuntu. Yeah. It not only was it supported in the like the quick release, the stable release, whatever, what are they called? 25.10. It was also supported in 2024 LTS. Like I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. I mean, part of it is because HP did a lot of work to make sure that it is in there, but I like that's bleeding edge hardware, and not only from the laptop but also the processor, and it had support. So like I know a lot of people are like, Ubuntu is usually a little like late to things compared to like even Fedora. Like for what you're running, I think you would be completely fine. I don't know. I haven't tested it specifically because when I was using Ubuntu, I was mostly using the LTS version. But with the LTS version, I didn't have any problems. Also, the question about the gaming stuff, I haven't done much gaming yet, so I can't tell you on that one.
I don't. It's funny. I don't game on the laptops really. Like I played a little bit of Buggos and some other like 2D kind of indie games on the Dell.
I mean, knowing this processor, they're probably doing
should be
more
fine,
lightweight stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to be doing anything heavy. Either way, the lightweight stuff is probably going to be fine. I'm glad you're liking Fedora, and yeah, like if you're seeing stuff in the different package manager that you're wanting, maybe try dual booting. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, what's the worst that can go wrong? You
What's the worst that can
nuke
go
your entire
wrong?
machine and have to start over.
There you go. But yeah, no, I don't think you'll have any problems. I can test it. I guess I can fire up that framework and put the newest Ubuntu on there and just mess around with it more. But I don't think it's much of a problem. Last question comes in from Ounges. I think maybe I cut off a letter.
Well, you cut off the D in Diotis.
Yeah, so maybe. Anyway, can we get a Dual Boot Diary episode discussion channel? I know the channel for we have two channels in Full Nerd. We have Linux channel where it's just like general Linux topics. Actually, we have three. We have the Linux help forums, and then we also have the questions channel. I know this question's for channels only, but I'm not sure where to post.
Channel is for
have you
questions
tried
only.
X feedback regarding specific episodes? Nextlander does this really well for reference.
Yeah, the Nextlander implementation is taken from the TechPod implementation, just for the record.
Oh, okay. So the TechPod implementation is
we have a forum.
Yeah.
And then each forum gets a new episode header. And the only thing well, we have a bot that does it there. So when the RSS feed pops, it just creates a new thread. And shout out to the thread slapper. It does good work. So then there's a place to discuss each episode, which turns out to be kind of convenient. This wasn't me setting this question, by the way.
No,
but the person who came up with that, really brilliant. Good job.
Yes, good job. I also don't know if I like it.
Okay.
Because I've been in those episode threads, and sometimes they just devolve into random stuff anyway.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's
so
Discord, man.
Yeah. So like I understand what you're saying. It would be nice to say, hey, you know what? Here's something for a specific episode to reference. But my worry is that people are just going to start chatting in there about random stuff.
I think unlike on the TechPod where each episode is its own distinct thing, here there's an ongoing project. The ongoing project is, can Adam and Will become Linux guys instead of Windows guys?
Yeah.
And I think that there's less need for the individual episode feedback.
Or I would say, I think maybe the other way to frame it, rather than tying what we're talking about to a specific episode, maybe the topic. So that's kind of why I created the forum. If you're like, oh, hey, I really want to help out us talking about tiling window managers, create maybe a forum thread for, hey, tiling window managers. And then you can, offer help in there, suggestions, whatever. So maybe that's better, because then I think, or at least in my mind, that's better than tying it to the episode. Because if I'm trying to go back and look for a piece of information and I'm like, oh crap, I remember, somebody gave us really good help for VMs, but I don't remember which episode we did it in. Forum. I know, but it'd probably be easier for everybody to just be like, oh, look, this is where you talk about VMs. This is where you talk about, this specific help thing. So
I can see that.
Yeah, let's try that. Listen, if everybody says I'm wrong, and maybe they will, then I don't know. We'll see. But
Adam, you're wrong.
Let's try that. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of wrong, I thought this was going to be a short episode, but we should wrap it up. What's the homework? What are you doing? What are you doing for the next week?
So I'm
tell me, Will. Come on.
You want to know?
I need to know
you
right
really
now.
need to know.
Yeah. You're taking your time.
I want to fix that OBS thing. I want to figure out how to get OBS permissions so that I don't have to type my password in every time I turn on the virtual camera.
Okay.
I need to unmess up the IPU7 camera on this Dell laptop.
Because you have like a ton of different.
I followed a guide on the Arch Wiki for this laptop that said, hey, this is what ChatGPT said to do, and it worked for me. And then absolutely did not work for me.
Wait, you trusted that?
I was a little desperate.
Okay. All right.
But now the Arch Wiki has been updated with new advice for getting the camera working on this laptop. Cool. And I just saw that today, and I haven't had a chance to try it yet. So I'm gonna try that, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I don't have to completely wipe the laptop to unmess up the stuff that I did thanks to the ChatGPT script from China.
I mean, at that point, you'd probably just switch to the framework.
At that point, I would probably just switch to the frame. Yeah, that is a fair. I mean, the thing I'll say, like this laptop, if I get it working,
So
it's really small.
It's a Dell.
It's an XPS 13 2024 edition. the
Okay,
Lunar Lake
yeah.
one.
But is this before they stopped calling them XPSs, though?
I think it still has I don't know.
This might not be an XPS. This might be their new nomenclature. But
I think this is I think this one might not be a commercially shipped model, if I'm being honest. I think this is a preview that they sent us because I just grabbed it off the shelf in there.
maybe.
Anyway, the point is, because it doesn't have any of like the UL stuff or anything on the bottom. It just says, it does say XPS there though.
Oh, okay. So,
But anyway, it's the 9350, I think, is the model number. It's the second generation of that because they had one from like 15 years ago and now this one. It's a super nice laptop. It's actually a little too small. Like the space between, like there's not enough chin underneath the keyboard on it. I actually wouldn't mind if it was a little bit larger, but I would like to conquer this camera before I move on to another laptop.
I will say, after using that Framework 13 for quite a while and then switching to this,
the big boy,
this Asus ProArt 16, I like bigger laptops.
You like a big laptop? See, I have a bag. That
I just wish it had numpad.
I have a bag that'll fit a 14-inch laptop.
This is pretty small though.
That's small for a big boy.
Yeah.
But that's still a big boy. I don't need discrete GPU also. That's just extra.
Maybe I don't.
I would rather have extra space for battery. It turns out.
Yeah.
If that HP's up for grabs, so I might be interested in that. Yeah.
It's thicker.
I'll take a thick boy.
Right.
Thick 13.
All right.
Totally
thick
fine.
13. Love it.
Anything
else you're working on?
Oh God. Okay. I have holidays coming up. I like to play. Typically over the holiday, I play a big giant game, like something beefy with a little teeth to it. You know, a big single player experience. And I'm thinking it's either going to be Outer Worlds 2 or maybe I didn't ever play God of War Ragnarok. I could play that. Something else. That Metal Gear Solid Delta thing, because I've never really played a Metal Gear before. Well, since the first one for NES. And I want to see. I want to try some AAA games on the Linux, on the big stuff, the big boys. Yeah, so that's it. Either that, I'm gonna get real into Caves of Qud.
I don't know.
Caves of Qud. QUD.
I have no idea what you're saying. Are you having a heart attack? Are you okay right now? It
smells like burning toast though.
Okay, so my homework.
Yeah, what's your homework, Adam?
I really want to figure out this VM.
No, I hadn't.
This virtual machine stuff. Man, oh man, I feel like I'm so close.
You're
I feel like I'm so close. So
what you should do is install a new distro that's better at VMs.
No, this virtual desktop manager is distro
VDM?
specific. Yeah. So I think. Anyway, the other thing is I have a project brewing. I hinted at this a little bit in last episode, but now I have something. The fine folks over at Sapphire. For audio listeners, I'm holding up a new GPU. This is a Sapphire Pulse
9070 XT.
Radeon RX 9070 XT. So this is the highest end AMD discrete GPU you can get.
Ed was excited about your Linux journey, wasn't he?
Ed is excited about Linux in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we might actually talk to him
that'd be fun.
coming in the future. And yeah, so I reached out to him and I was like, listen, I know you're excited about Linux. I'm excited about Linux. I believe he listens to the podcast. And I was like, my next step, like obviously I'm for the laptop stuff, I'm preparing for CS, but I don't really ever game on a laptop. But I think I am ready. Over the holiday break, I was looking at my desktop and I was like, I could just dual boot right on this right now. Like I could just do it. I could set this up
in there,
and or actually 3, I think.
Wow, that's 3 boots. You could have 3 boots on there.
Exactly. Try booting. I didn't though.
Yeah.
Because I have an NVIDIA GPU in there, and I was like, I know, I'm sure it is, but I was like, I'm gonna get an AMD GPU in there because from what I've heard, it's easier.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna start off on easy mode.
Yeah.
So I asked Sapphire, hey, do you have any GPUs to spare for this project? He sent it over. This is the GPU I'm going to be using to set up gaming, and I'm finally going to dip my toes in gaming because I know during the holiday break
you have time.
That's
some big gaming window there. Yeah,
and to be very clear, I'm going to dual boot on that. and probably will always dual boot on that gaming one because there probably will be games.
Battlefield 6, Call of Duty, Fortnite, League of Legends, Valorant.
But
you're a big Valorant player.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to dip into that.
That sounds fun.
I don't know if I have the headspace yet. I feel like once I figure out the VM thing, like I'll have most of the work stuff figured out.
Then you put a 5090 in for your Windows VM games. Your hypervisor, secure boot hypervisor, Windows on one, Linux on the other. Just switch back, run Fortnite and Linux and Arc Raiders at the same time.
Easy.
That's what the kids crave.
Did it. So yeah, I'm starting down that journey. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm actually going to swap.
Are you going to do the desktop or are you going to do the living room PC?
I'm doing my living room PC, which is just gaming. Just gaming.
Pure games.
It's just pure games. So like if anything goes wrong, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. Burn it all down.
Yeah. But yeah, I need to swap out the GPU, get that all set up in Windows, make sure it's running correctly.
You're going to do like Steam OS launcher with that? Are you going to Bazite it or something? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to do Baked ZD.
ZD?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the choice for a living room hooked to the TV setup.
I mean, it makes sense. And there's an argument there that you can do all of your Windows stuff streamed from the Windows machine into that guy because you have two PCs at the house.
Yeah, but my work, the one in the office is not as powerful. Like, and I don't keep it on either. So yeah.
Okay.
I'd prefer to have everything running locally on
the
that.
games.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
This is a fun
also,
project.
I'm in a very crowded apartment, and even though I'm the only person in the area that has Wi-Fi 7, it has a hard time penetrating all the way to the. I mean, I could run it, but I'm not one of those weird people who just runs a line down the hallway like Brad Shoemaker. So yeah, no, I don't need wired Ethernet.
I don't
enough
judge
to do
anybody
that.
who loves a wire. Like, look, you have 10 gigabit into that house. I want 10 gigabit everywhere in the house if I have 10 gigabit.
Yeah,
I'm a peasant with only 1 gigabit.
It's an apartment. Yeah. So, yeah, with a blind cat. So, I don't want to trip him up. That too. Anyway, let's wrap. Check back next week for your fix of Linux talk here on Dual Boot Diaries.
Yep.
I'm actually going to be on the road. It's a simple, quick trip, but I think we'll still have a normal episode next week.
We'll do an episode,
I think we're going to be able to fit it in. And yeah, if you have any questions, hit the link in the description. Go over to our Full Nerd Discord and get some questions in at the DBD question channel. We also have a Linux channel where there's awesome talk
Linux
happening
chat
over there.
Yeah.
And then forums with Linux help specific to topics. Thanks everybody for this journey. I'm still having a dang good time. I don't know about you, but I feel like I should at some point in the mail, my Linux user card is going to show up, and I'm going to be like, wow, I'm a Linux user.
I did a podcast. I popped onto the Engadget podcast this morning. So welcome to new people who heard about us there. I have it on the Engadget podcast this morning, and I did it from Linux. It's the first time I've done external. I record this when I'm at home in Linux, and I've done the TechPod once or twice in Linux, I think.
Okay.
But I haven't done anything else with other people and I was like, this will work. I'm confident.
There you go. Nice.
That, and I don't remember what the other thing was. So I guess we might as well wrap it up here.
Yeah, well, let's. Maybe you just wanted to thank me.
I think you're awesome, Adam.
Yeah, no,
this was really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think you're awesome.
Yeah.
I think you're awesome, and have a good one, and always be writing in the command line. We'll talk to you later. Bye.